Welcome back, Red Spotters. Another show here in the Red Spotlight Entertainment Podcast. I'm your host today, Alexys J. Soto, and I'm joined by the usual suspects, Ms. Alexys Moreno, Mr. Kyle Lira, and Demon Peter Martinez. How are you guys all doing today? Appropriate responses. Anyone, a little bit of an update for our social distancing? I know some of us are pretty tired. Kyle, how are you doing?
Like the good Star Kid Productions musical Firebringer, I don't really want to do the work today. But alas, here we are.
Moreno and I have actually been doing this every day, and we seem to have, been sustained by that somehow. And this is the official second part of our two-part decade series where we present our favorite films of the 2010s. The previous episode captured the first 5 years, 2010 to 2014, and today's show will be those last 5 years from 2015 to 2020. As it works, Peter will start us off by recapping what happened in life those years, and the rest of us will present if we have any honorable mentions, then the official movies, and then we have a free-flowing discussion about why we picked those movies. And then at the end, Ms. Moreno has a list of movies that happened, good or bad, that she'll go over to discuss that year even further. Before we begin today, let me just recap real quick the films from last time. So Alexys Moreno, real quick, for 2010, your official movie was Scott Pilgrim, and then your honorable mention was Tangled. Then in 2011, it was Deathly Hallows Part 2, with your honorable mention being Rise of the Planet of the Apes. For 2012, your honorable mention was Lincoln, and your official film was The Avengers. For 2013, your honorable mention was Saving Mr. Banks, and of course, your old reliable Monsters University was your official movie for 2013. And 2014, the honorable mention was Winter Soldier, with your official film being Whiplash by Damien Chazelle. Kyle, your honorable mention for 2010 was How to Train Your Dragon, and your official one was Scott Pilgrim. For 2011, Hugo was the honorable mention, and the official film was The Girl and the Dragon Tattoo by David Fincher. In 2012, Les Mis was your number one, and Skyfall and Django Unchained were your honorable mentions. For 2013, Banks got your vote, with Gatsby, The Great Gatsby, being your honorable mention, and then your 2014 was What We Do in the Shadows by Taika Waititi. Curiously, not Guardians 1, which everybody flipped out about. And also your honorable mention was Birdman.
Fuck.
My list consisted in 2010, my honorable mention was Inception. My official film was Toy Story 3. In 2011, it was Captain America the First Avenger as the mention, and Hugo as the official film. In 2012, The Avengers was the mention, and Lincoln was the official one. In 2013, it was Snowpiercer by the Academy Award-winning director Bong Joon-ho. And then it was Saving Mr. Banks as the official one. And for 2014, Captain America Winter Soldier was my honorable mention, with Boyhood being number one. And then for Peter, he doesn't believe in honorable mentions for this list, otherwise he says he'll destroy himself. So for 2010, it was Scott Pilgrim. For 2011, it was Cabin in the Woods. For 2012, it was The Avengers. For 2013, it was The Conjuring. And for 2014 was Guardians of the Galaxy. So there's your recap. If you want to listen to the first show, there are all your reasonings, but we're going to go ahead and start off with the year of 2015. Mr. Martinez, take us back, won't you?
Okay. Let's get in our time machines back to the year of 2015. Let's do this, baby. 2015. The United States Supreme Court affirms same-sex marriage. That's good. NASA confirms the presence of water on Mars. So, also good. And 195 countries signed the world's first accord on climate change. So, 2015, pretty baller, if I might say.
Until
Well, we're still in 2015. Okay.
Don't
All right.
be traveling to the future, my friend.
But we're
We're not there yet.
We're not there yet. We're not
Okay.
there yet.
So let's begin with the honorable mentions. Miss Moreno, you're up.
My honorable mention is Inside Out.
Okay. Kyle Lira.
Well, this is a doozy because I have 3.
What?
I have 3.
Really?
It is,
Okay.
it's my podcast. I can do whatever I fucking want to.
Well, technically, since this is a co-op, so everyone within the podcast owns it equally.
Okay, but I'm the CEO of this thing.
There are no
of Red
CEOs in
Spotlight
co-op.
Entertainment Network. Okay, so the first one we have the Vitch or the Witch, if you want to.
It's called the Vivitch.
The Vivitch. The Vivitch. Vivitch.
The Vivitch.
Okay.
The next
Zicker.
one I have is Room. And then the next one is
I
Mad
love The
Max
Room.
Fury Road.
I love The Room too. Timing wise, oh man, what a great actor.
Not that Room.
Oh.
But yeah,
What was
movies.
I'm sorry, what was the third film you mentioned?
Mad Max Fury Road.
Holy crap. That's a lot of movies.
Yeah.
Okay. So Moreno had Inside Out, and then Kyle had The Witch, Room, and Mad Max Fury Road. My honorable mention is Star Wars The Force Awakens.
That movie exists.
I've never heard of it.
So who shall go first?
Moreno, begin with Inside Out.
Wait. You said your movie was Inside Out?
No, they're just tossing it to you to talk.
I'm like, wait, he chose. So
No.
I mean, it's a great movie. This movie makes me cry every time.
To me, it was fun having a film that felt like old school Pixar. As the first one we've gotten in 5 years at that point, and it was also one of the last movies that I went to go see with a particular circle of friends, which ended kind of harshly afterwards, but
It's because you're a trash person and they all hate you.
And then it was also the beginning of a long string of miserable Pixar theater experiences with children. So, like a miserable string of experiences with any Pixar film with children and then subsequently adults. So some of it isn't all fondly remembered, but I do know that one of our friends, Giselle Gallegos, who you may know from previous projects, was completely and utterly obsessed with this film when it came out. I recall making Julio actually watch a movie. What a novel idea. And I took him to this movie, and
He's not upset with the film.
Yeah, and I still have that image of him like curling up in a ball and like hiding his face because he was in tears when Bing Bong died. Great concepts that Pixar has, and it packs a punch. It also ended up being, weirdly enough, a friend of ours, Nettie's like most hated movie ever, it seems like. And she's using the Kyle principle, in which like it's hyped up too much and she hates it because it was hyped up too much.
I hate the Kyle principle. I really do.
Yeah.
Kyle, you realize you could have prevented so much bloodshed if you would have just watched Breaking Bad. You do realize that.
You know what's ironic, Peter? You know that infamous moment where like Walter White threw a pizza at the roof of his house?
Yeah.
Kyle had that experience at work the other day.
Oh, did you?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost as if, the universe is trying to tell you something.
Yeah. Do meth.
I mean, it is the end of the world, so...
And according to Julio, it's not that bad anyways, so you'll be good.
Unless he's talking about Adderall.
Yeah, it's the same as Adderall.
You
You're
know, if
fine.
only he realized how much shit we talked about him on these shows. But of course, who gives a shit? Because he doesn't listen, so we
so
can
it's
say whatever
fine.
we want.
Yeah.
Like, fuck that guy. Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys are really crazy about The Witch. A lot of people hate this movie. So what is it about The Witch?
Nettie.
Oh,
Nettie hate.
God.
Well, Kyle's family hates this movie too.
They
It's
just
okay.
didn't get it. Same with the lighthouse.
You just don't get it, man.
Yeah, but the Vavitch is it's such a strong film that I was just enamored with the way it was filmed, the way that it's written. The dialogue is like at all like alien, because with period films they often like speak like normal English that we speak today, minus like the lingo like woke and lit and slay girl slay, you know. But when you do period films, they don't really do like period accurate linguistics, and that fascinated me with this movie. The way they would be like, it would be haunting of thee and stuff like that, and it was just like so good. The acting was so damn impressive. I don't know the name of the guy who played the father, but he is awesome. Like I don't know, like there's something outerworldly of him. You know, it feels like he stepped out of time, you know. And to make a movie that immersive with the time period that you're at, plus like the haunting, like chilling aspects of it, and hashtag Black Phillip, yes. Great thing. And also the ending just like much like The Lighthouse, and this is I'm comparing The Lighthouse because it is Robert Eggers' film, and the witch is just downright sick, beautiful, creepy. You don't know where it's gonna go, and the way it ended is just like a nice little cherry on top of this like unsettling disaster in the most beautiful way possible.
This director makes like historical nightmare fairy tales.
You know, a lot of the movies that have been mentioned so far, including a film like The Witch, at least for some of us, wouldn't have even been a consideration. But I just think so far there's been a really good range of films, mentioned in these shows, and horror is having a really good time this decade, because, you know, from a lot of people's perspective, that genre doesn't exist. But, you know, lo and behold, the 2010s might have been a rather memorable decade for horror and film.
Oh,
Yeah, I would agree.
also Anya Taylor-Joy, underrated actress, I think.
I don't know if she's underrated. I feel like she gets a lot of attention. Well, actually, maybe she is underrated in comparison to her
Peers?
like peers. Yeah, like Saoirse Ronan gets like a lot of praise, and I'd consider her at like the same level. So
Well,
to
at this
speak.
point, she's a 3-time Oscar-nominated actress, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, I
yeah.
think, the perspective can, be colored by different things, but she's had 3 successive films that have been awards contenders.
Yeah, but I also feel like the Academy, they have their favorites.
When they love you, and when they don't give a shit, they don't give a shit about you. That's true.
Yeah, I'd put it that way too. Yeah.
But yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy, I really like her. She blew me away with this movie as well. I mean, I think, if I'm not mistaken, this is like her first major role, and she knocked it out of the park with this one. Yeah. Anything else? Oh, Alexis, your honorable mention.
Well, you have 2 others, though. You're not going to discuss those movies, or?
Oh, okay.
Nah.
Okay, I'll discuss those movies as well. Room, devastating film. I was
In case
having
anybody forgot, that has Brie Larson in there, so keep that in mind.
okay. I came for Brie Larson. That sounded wrong. That sounded so wrong. Okay, no, okay.
Yeah, factually true.
I arrived to the point of watching the movie due to Brie Larson. And this movie, it left me heartbroken. There is optimism somewhere in the movie, but it's all in all like the claustrophobia, and goddamn, Brie Larson earned that Oscar and then some. Can
I just say, I don't want to step on your toes or anything. I've seen Brie Larson in a number of things now, and yet I'm continuously far more impressed with Jacob Tremblay, who was also in that film, right? He's going to be, I feel like that kid is going to be a superstar in this coming decade.
Yeah, he should have won an Oscar by now. And he's like 4.
But yeah, he's great too. They like the claustrophobia that you feel in this movie. They did a really good job of making you feel claustrophobic and kind of like hopeless in this situation, because they are trapped in this, this 16 by 16 room, and you feel for these characters, and like it left me like shaken after this, because like the moments leading up to certain moments, it just like it kept on building and building and building, and even to where, and I guess that this is where I mean, I'm no person of like speaking from experience of abuse, but it does put yourself into the shoes of these characters, and you feel that even though they are technically away from this guy, you still feel that presence of what's going on, and I think that's a very powerful way to feel during a movie about this this nature of a film. And there is a lending of optimism in it, but you still feel that lingering experience, and that's how the feeling of like these characters are. That feeling will never go away. And I like how they painted that like vibe with the movie. Yeah, and it just made me feel like sick, optimistic, and anxiety driven because of what these characters went through. And a good movie should do that. It should change, the way you're feeling about movies. It's not like, it's not like a fairy tale in the Disney sense of the form. It, life is fucked up, and yeah, it is optimistic, but you do leave with some of that baggage that life unfortunately throws at you, and I think that that's a really powerful thing with a movie like this and this nature as well.
This movie gave me a panic attack.
Oh shit!
I had to stop watching it.
That's how good it is then.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, like it sucked in the moment, because like that's only ever happened to me, or at least that bad, a few times. But yeah, like it was crazy.
And of course, the true horror, as we're all finding out, we now have to be confined to our rooms. Brought to you by coronavirus. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, I had to take a walk after this movie. Yeah. Not much could be said about this movie. I mean, it's just like one of those things that you dive into, and that's where you arrive at with Room. Okay, and then Mad Max Fury Road. It says Mad Max, but it should be called Furiosa. Charlize Theron kicks so much ass while she's trying to hold on to hope of this. I mean, there's kind of a theme going on right here with these two movies, and one movie coming up. This bit of hope, that still lingers with these characters, and the idea of like escapism and just trying to escape from everything. That right there is honestly like endearing. And George Miller directed and fucking shit, flamethrowing guitar guy with fucking amps blasting off the back. That's my kind of vibe right there. This is my kind of party.
It says a lot about the industry that we talk about, that what is basically a Furiosa movie had to be billed as a guy's name, Mad Max, in order for people to go out and watch it. Back in 2015, because it is basically Furiosa, a Mad Max story, for what it is. And Charlize Theron is honestly one of the best actors just out there. Like, and the thing about what I'm most impressed by her, is in everything that I see her in, it's almost entirely different than what she did before.
Yeah.
She's, to me, an underrated treasure, it seems. Even though she's been like showered with praise and awards, to me, she's one of the most interesting people, because she chooses vastly different projects. So anything that she's in, I'll watch.
She's a chameleon when it comes to being an actress, because she could like wear different hats and make that hat work in her favor, and I think that's where she really shines in this. Like, there's this one scene of her realizing that everything that she was trying to escape to was completely like thwarted, and she broke down in the middle of the desert, and that shot is like mwah, piece of the resistance kind of thing.
This movie was a blast. I mean, I just real quick to chime in, I still remember watching it with you. And who was the other person we saw this movie with? Was it Peter or was it Julio?
I have
back
no
in 2015.
idea.
It was one third person that was there watching the movie with us.
I don't know, but flamethrowing guitars, that shows me a good time.
That's iconic at this point. It inspired a scene in Moana.
It was so iconic that for that year of Comic-Con, Conan O'Brien repeated that scene, and just like he did the flamethrowing guitars and everything like that, and it was just like one of those things that was like most popular with things. Also, again, I can't emphasize this enough, but like the message of hope behind that movie is ridiculous and strong, and I feel uplifted every time I watch it because of that. Like, even in the face of most evil scrutiny and villainy, you could still find the light at the end of the tunnel, and that's where you have this movie, and it's just it's gorgeous. And also it's just one long chase sequence, like, and you made that dynamic. Goddamn, great shit.
Peter, any thoughts on Mad Max? Okay. The Force Awakens is my honorable mention. And I feel like, to give JJ a bone here, right? Because for however much we're going to savage him in our upcoming audio commentary of Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, featuring all of our wonderful panelists here, we'll all take turns throwing JJ
Rise of Skywalker?
A broken bottle. To me, like, this as a film is very, at this point, controversial in terms of, how it's held up. And in many aspects it has, and in many it hasn't. But I think what will never change was the sheer excitement that all of us felt going into it. I still remember the day waking up December 15th, 2015, or 14th, actually. Waking up like if it was Christmas, because it was like, wow, we get to have a new Star Wars movie. And then we went, it was a whole event where we were standing in line. Peter was so, excited. He was the first one in line, like hours and hours in advance. And even though, we walked out, some of us having already some issues, we were excited that we got another one of these movies. And it's still, it is good. It is a good movie. It was a great time. Just, the lights going down, having that Star Wars fanfare back again. J.J. Abrams at least was able to make something that for the better part of a week, every single Star Wars fan enjoyed. And then, of course, the rabble took over, and then we all went into the depths of hell. But it It is certainly not in any way the best Star Wars movie, anywhere near that, but I think it was a memory that I'm never ever going to forget. So just for that alone, it's my honorable mention.
Star Wars: The Force Awakens is fascinating in terms of like its timing, its where it was in history. It's just like it was at the right place at the right time kind of thing. And I remember I felt as giddy as you were. Like I couldn't like sleep the previous night because like, oh god, I'm getting another
right.
Star Wars episodic, you know. And it was just like one of those. I mean, we planned it out. We were like, there was stormtroopers there. Somebody lost a poster that should have been rightfully theirs. But long story short, it was such a unique experience, and I don't think we're ever gonna get that again.
It just felt like a moment in cinematic history, you know? It's like, okay, you only get one of these every generation. And, you know, for better or for worse, the result wasn't Phantom Menace. So...
No, it was actually a good, well-made Star Wars movie, and that's
and
what
the
I
best
think a lot
part. The best part about it, the best thing that JJ did, was create these characters, of which, you know, other people took to better advantage of, but he created the characters and cast the people that we know and love today.
Yeah, I mean, automatically John Boyega, Daisy Ridley, and Oscar Isaac, if he wasn't already a household name, you know, by this time, you know, and I think that is insane, especially with the Daisy Ridley, who pretty much did nothing before that, or at least like nothing major and huge like this movie in the spectrum. And I remember like all the speculations that ultimately became a lot of people's undoing about the movie, about the next movie coming up after that. But it was just like one of those things that you just couldn't believe was happening, you know? And I can't emphasize that enough because it's just... Everybody wanted a new Star Wars. It's been a decade since past then. I know some people on this panel, one person in particular, won't agree with that statement, but I think that this is one of those things that really excels it.
I think one of the funniest things that happened that night is us thinking that our review mattered, and we literally spent hours after the screening going to Peter's house, recreating the BNC set, and then like writing a review and recording a review until like what time in the morning did we finish?
3 or something.
And then it didn't even matter. So yeah.
But we learned by the next episode, though.
Mm-hmm.
And all that stuff. Honestly, it was just great. And then we had
the official movies. Peter, what's your official film for 2015?
Mine?
Yes.
Wait, did I talk about the year of 2015? I did.
Yeah.
I did. Okay. Yeah, like I said, just looking at my list, I didn't intend to do this. It's kind of weird. I have like rather fun like blockbuster type films, and then by the time I hit like
this
2016, it gets real like fucking serious. But 2015 was pretty transitional. So yeah, mine for 2015 was Mad Max Fury Road.
Okay. All right. Talk about. Oh wait. Let's get everybody's.
Peter.
Yeah,
okay.
you're supposed to wait for everyone else.
Kyle.
It is Ridley Scott's The Martian. No?
I've heard of it.
Yeah.
Alexis.
Mine is Spotlight.
Wow.
Spotlight. And the movie that I chose was Bridge of Spies by the wonderful and talented Steven Spielberg.
Disgusting.
So there we go. Who wants to start off with this?
Peter, I wanna talk to you.
Oh yeah, Mad Max. We were talking about Mad Max. We should go into Mad Max, huh?
Yes.
So it's pretty transitional. I mean, because it's not entirely apocalyptic, but that being said, the setting is entirely apocalyptic, so that's a pretty interesting dichotomy. It is a fun movie. It just is pretty horrific in terms of its imagery, but fun horrific, if there ever was a balance for that. So why is this your number one of the year?
Because it's an amazing film. I kind of looked at 2015 list. I feel like 2015 was kind of a dry year. I know at least for me, I wasn't paying that like much attention at that point. So like,
weren't you doing reviews with me yet, or was that 2016?
Ant-Man. I think that was 2016.
No,
or
15.
2015.
15,
okay.
yeah.
But I don't think I seriously like okay, I'm gonna watch all the films and do all that shit till 2017.
Right.
Yeah.
That was about the same year for all of us. I mean, we would catch what we like were interested in, but it wasn't until very recent, as in like 2 or 3 years ago, that we all like kind of threw ourselves and forced ourselves to see movies that we wouldn't even care much about, right?
Yeah. So just looking back at the year 2015, I was like, yeah, it was. If I was paying attention, I probably would have considered it a bit of a dry year. I feel. But 2015. First of all, I want to take your guys' Furiosa digs and shove them up your asses.
Huh?
Mad Max has never been about Max. Ever, except for the first film. But even in Road Warrior and Thunderdome, he wasn't the main character. He was like this mythic side character that was sort of like a catalyst for bringing you into the world of the actual main character, which wasn't Max. So they continued that with this one.
You are aware, though, I was referring to the film wouldn't be as financially successful if it was called Furiosa.
Well, yeah, because it's not an IP.
Okay.
That's all I'm
and
saying.
I was saying like it for people who don't know the franchise, they would be confused like, oh, this is supposed to be Mad Max and the actual character is Furiosa. I knew Tina Turner was the main character in Thunderdome.
Sure.
Well, as somebody who this was their introduction, yeah, I wouldn't have gone to watch it. I knew.
But that's because you hate women. That's entirely different. That's entirely different. You're one of the cool ones. You're one of the cool girls who hates women. Okay.
Don't take him seriously, people. Please, we don't need any complaints. He's not being serious. God.
Okay. Anyways, no, this is an incredible film, like from top to bottom as far as like creation. This is one of those things where it's like I would throw this film at any one of your I would throw this film at any one of your Oscar winners any day of any year. I just think it's so incredible.
To be clear, this is an Oscar winner film. Technically speaking, it won a lot of Oscars.
When I say Oscar winner, I think like Best Picture. I think like fucking Room, like Kyle brought up. That's what I think. This is the kind of shit that most shy away from. I know this one did get nominated quite a bit.
It did get the picture nomination and the director nomination. Yeah.
Because it's one of the blockbusters that is good in the eyes of the Academy, but it is fucking incredible. The sort of minimalistic storytelling to a certain extent. It's a very small, simple story, but those are kind of the best stories because they give you room to tell it in unique and interesting ways. When sometimes plot sort of muddies a film and gets in the way, but when you pull away Rise of Skywalker, but when you pull away a lot of plot and you're left with the bare bones, that leaves room for genuine storytelling. And George Miller, who's just a fucking legend, who's fucking bringing the heat in his late 70s,
Even making movies about dancing freaking penguins is
Oh yeah,
is huge.
he has a very varied filmography, which is that's really cool to see. But no, from the music to the cinematography to the way it's shot to the action to the storytelling to the characters, the way everything's portrayed. Yeah, it is. Funnily enough, it is a pretty feminist film. And I even think there was like quote unquote controversy.
Isn't there always
about that shit at the time?
When it being a pro-feminist movie,
yeah. But it's literally like a group of women escaping this fucked up society. You know,
of course
we are
they
not.
Find that offensive that they tried to escape their abusers, probably rapists, right? You know, oh god, if people only realized.
These are the same people that call like Star Wars like feminist propaganda because they dare to say Nazis bad. Like, yeah, these are shitty people.
I mean, remember, this is the year that Daisy Ridley made her big stage debut, and then a week later they labeled her Mary Sue, which then ascended into like a whole thing.
Yeah, that's their favorite word in the whole world. It allows them to be sexist without just coming out and calling women the C word.
Which, by the way,
fuck them.
Fuck Max Landis.
Yeah, I'm talking about you, Moreno.
Okay.
Yeah, Max Landis has always been a piece of shit.
Sexism.
And I was the first person on that train before the allegations came out, so I'll just say that.
Alexis always tried to have to prove he's right. No, but this film is like a fucking symphony. To me, it is everything that's amazing with filmmaking. I absolutely love it at every level. I could watch this film 1,000 times. To me, and also, this is the big thing with me too. We've talked about this a lot, I feel. My favorite genre of film, like easily, is original blockbusters, which don't exist anymore. They just don't, because they're just not viable anymore. So when they disappeared, one of the things I thought was like, okay, even though they've disappeared, you can still have what makes original blockbusters great in all these sequels and reboots and shit that they do like that. And to a certain extent, you have seen it a bit in this past decade. We talked about the Apes films, The Last Jedi. So I think there have been, prequel, sequel, remake, reboot type shit that has done that, given me what I love about the original blockbuster in these things. But even Guardians of the Galaxy. But I don't know if that counts. It's kind of because it was the first film technically of that franchise. But
again, Guardians of the Galaxy is like so divorced from what else is going on in the MCU.
Yeah. So it's kind of a weird thing. It's kind of its own thing. But then after the Last Jedi and the way people really pushed back on that, I started to get afraid of like, okay, it feels like we can't even get original type filmmaking in these sequels and reboots now. Like, I thought that would have been the saving grace of all the sequels and reboots. So whenever I see a blockbuster film that just blows me away in that way, in the way that it's made, I love it a million times even more. I mean, I've seen The Last Jedi 5,000 times. And this one too very much falls under that category. So yeah. That's my feelings on it.
Okay. Ditto. It is definitely one of those movies that like explodes in that fashion. Moreno, Spotlight. Spotlight of all the movies. Okay,
is this the first Best Picture winner that's actually been mentioned in these lists?
Did it win Best Picture? I didn't even pay attention. Oh wow.
Oh, I mentioned
okay.
I mentioned Birdman.
Oh, that's true.
That's right. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Spotlight. Tell us why you hate God, Moreno.
I mean, this one is kind of another one, like, I kind of got the same reaction as, like, Lincoln and stuff, where I was just so mad at this movie that, like, but, like, I still, not that I love the concept of it, because obviously no, but, like,
To be clear, you're
it's
saying
such a
that this movie made
powerful
you mad.
movie. Yeah, like, it's such a powerful movie, and, like, what they're doing and what they're saying, that I was just like, oh my god, like,
It seems
I
like
think
the
I
best
texted
thing
you-
a film could do is piss you off.
yeah.
Like Up.
Yeah, like Up.
That movie didn't make me mad. I
It
just didn't
it
care
just
for
put her
it.
to sleep. Yeah.
Ow. Okay.
But yeah, like, I think I texted you guys, like, right after watching this, and I was like, oh my god, like,
Yeah, you did.
yeah. But yeah, it was just the movie that, like, impacted me the most this year, so that's why it's in my top one.
I was gonna say nothing will make you angrier than as the film closes, and shot after shot after shot, you just see all of the damn places that these heinous acts were going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that list, it got me teary-eyed just because, like, it was just so much and overwhelming. It's just one of those things. It's a very overwhelming movie with its concept and everything like that, and it sucks because it targets the subject matter. It's like a huge targeting of children and youth, and, like, I think that's just, like, a more devastating blow because, like, their life is just beginning, and just, like, to, like, start off their life with that trauma is a horrible thing to dote upon a child, and the way that they uncovered it, and, like, their quest for justice, by letting the truth out is very powerful. And I could definitely see it. Just, like, shocked me, like, when Moreno, like, mentioned, like, Spotlight. But yeah, I completely feel what you're feeling, Moreno. I mean, it's definitely warranted because it's very maddening that they just let this shit they let them get away with this bullshit. But yeah, Spotlight's a really good movie. It's a really, really good movie. Any final thoughts on Spotlight?
Whenever I think of Spotlight, I always think of Doubt. Have you guys seen Doubt?
Yeah.
Meryl Streep. You have to have seen it.
Alexis?
No.
Alexis Soto? No? Nobody?
Continue what you were saying. I'm listening to you.
Okay. Well, if you haven't seen it, it doesn't make sense. So, never mind.
Okay. Alexis, Burgess Spies.
Why didn't you pick Spectre? I can't even wrap my head around that. I mean, why didn't you?
Because Spectre is trash. Everyone
I
knows
thought, like,
it.
you're the James Bond guy, and, like, not only is Spectre not your choice, but it's not even an honorable mention, and you picked 3 of them. So my question to you is, why do you hate Spectre?
Okay, again, this is why I said really when Peter said that 2015 is a dry year, because there's, like, so many movies to pick from this year that I really liked a lot. It's just, like, I don't know, because I've always been a Bond fan. This movie, like, did things for me that I've been wanting for a while, but, like,
That's what she said.
yeah. But however, like, in the way that it changed my perspective on film, like, these are the 4 that I mentioned are the way that I went in this movie, in this list. Like, the movies that, like, blew me away,
And Spectre didn't blow you away?
It blew me away, but it's because I'm a fan of it, I was a pre-established fan of it already.
You know what? Yeah, there are some pretty good ones for 2015, I think, now that I look at it.
Okay. So it's funny, right? Because this is a movie that Kyle continuously, like, goes gaga over. And yet when I had the decency to invite him to go see this movie with me at the theater, he blew me off saying that he was already settled in for the night.
Wait, what the fuck? I was your second choice?
You weren't even... I didn't even ask you.
I saw it with you.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
You did not see The Martian.
It's okay,
with me.
guys.
Yes.
He saw Frozen 2 on a Disney Plus way
wait.
before us.
I thought you were talking about Spectre. Okay, never
The
mind.
Martian. No, not
Oh,
Spectre.
okay.
I mean, apparently Spectre doesn't matter from the lists that I'm seeing. I'm talking about the Martian film starring,
Oh, okay.
What's his name? Matt Damon.
Wow, so I wasn't even your second choice. Okay.
No, not even. My second choice is just going alone. If I'm being honest with you. But yeah. But
Hurtful.
Kyle blew me off. You know?
Mm-hmm. Good for you, Kyle. He's not worth it.
And yet he can't stop talking about, The Martian and how excited he was to see it.
Oh my god! Like like a year later, I finally got around to
A
seeing
year
The
later.
A year later, I finally got around to seeing The Martian. And oh my god! Like, where has this movie been my whole entire life? Within that year, of course, but like, it's just like a survival movie with mixture of great acting. I love Matt Damon's character of Mark Watney. He's so charismatic and charming, and you could feel his pain whenever whenever things are just not going his way and things are blowing up in his face just of the situation that he's in. The embarrassment of cast of characters that they have is just downright amazing. I think you have Jeff Daniels in the movie, and he's like a very different Jeff Daniels than he is that you see him in other films. You have Donald Glover in the movie, and that was like, oh, this is him. And just like so many other things, Jessica Chastain, the list goes on of the cast members. The way it's shot and the way that they make Mars look so desolate, but again, I said that there's glimmers of hope within Room and Mad Max Fury Road, but like the way that Mars is shot, where it's like desolate, depressed and all that stuff, but there is that bit of hope that just exceeds everything else. The story is captivating. Not one dull moment. This is one of those movies that I could pop in at any time. In fact, this is one of my most popped in movies that I watch frequently. Just because I'm enamored, because if you want to, I pay attention through it, without picking my phone up once, and I think that's a feat also. But it's just like one of those things where I'm just like, I get sucked into the story of it all. Unfortunately, I don't think the government would actually do something like this. I think they would have left Mark Watney left for dead and kept that a secret for years. But the way that it displayed of something like, kind of like you're viewing your government like, yeah, our government is like, nice, but that one moment where I'm like, oh, but then they wouldn't actually do something like this. The Martian, amazing. I recommend it to everybody who hasn't seen it. It is a favorite movie of mine. One of my favorites. Top 50, top 30. Name which
Top
ranking,
5.
but I love it. I love it a lot.
Okay.
I would say I'm also surprised you didn't have Pan on your honorable mentions as well.
That movie pissed me off to no end. But that's a story for another time.
Apparently, it's one of the few films Kyle, has a deep-seated hatred for.
Alexis, Bridge of Spies.
Right. So Bridge of Spies, to me, it shows you just exactly the kind of filmmaker that Spielberg is, and why so much of what he does and what he chooses to make movies about, appeals to me so much. One of the things that is so inherent in the DNA of this movie is it's a story about blind patriotism and the kind of, rabid, stupid, idiotic, mind mushingness that happens when you just swallow propaganda. And I think it's unique because it's tackling on the propaganda by the United States. In that it's a simple story of just this everyday man. Who you cast to have an everyday man? You have Tom Hanks, who has been tasked to defend a Russian spy, at a time in the Cold War where it was popular to hang him, as they say, and it was based on true events, where it was in no interest from our, so to speak, lawyers or law enforcement officials to give this guy a fair trial or a fair shot or whatever, and then just wanted to go and, kill him. As, how wonderful our criminal justice system also happens to be, right? As it always was. And why it is that, there are just wonderful scenes here where Tom Hanks is just like beautifully manipulating these idiots around him to, maneuver a outcome that, is not what the America wanted, because, they pick winners and losers. And there were several people that were captured, and they chose to trade a prisoner with one of our prisoners who was more politically correct and more that they can stomach, right? It was the military airman who was chosen over the Poindexter that they just callously threw to the wind. And it just reminds me of how really evil the country can be, our country. And it should be said more. And I wish that, that kind of feeling that the movie gave me was exactly what I was like, for that time in 2015, only beginning to feel that all around me, just waking up to this complete dream that I thought was, the American go-get-'em attitude and, buying all the propaganda that was thrown at you, and then realizing, just wait, oh, that's right. There are nothing but crooks and assholes all around us who have political agendas. And they'll throw you to the wolves if it so fits their corporatist alignments, if you will. So to me, I don't think it's appreciated enough in the fact that it is a film that is tackling on bullshit propaganda from a country that we all live in. By the way, the CIA is going to come at me right now for saying this.
Yeah, you
and they should.
For saying all of this, because, we're nothing but trash, it seems like, and how we treat many of our own people, and of course people all around the world. Because really, you had it all come down to compassion, with Tom Hanks' character found it in himself to feel some kind of sympathy for this foreign enemy, and yet everyone around him was just like, think of your career, think of your family, think of your country. Fuck this guy. Why would you feel any kind of sympathy for that guy? And it's like the perfect Tom Hanks role, because that is who he embodies. It is the everyman. And it's sad to me that this is actually the film that made me realize just how little fucking compassion all of us have as a collective whole. And it's actually more rare than common to find somebody who gives anything, who gives a single iota of shit besides himself. I know this movie makes Peter angry because of Mark Rylance. I don't give a shit.
That fucker.
And he'll go on about how Mark Rylance sucks and everything, which, entirely irrelevant to what I was just saying. But yeah. Bridge of Spies made me quite angry, which is why it's my number one for 2015.
Damn. the way to your guys' hearts, it seems, is through anger and spite. I don't know what's going on. I don't hate this film. I think it's a good film. You do get that good old fashioned mushy Spielberg. It seems like when Spielberg hit the 90s, he got very political. I don't know what's up with that.
There's a string of political movies. I actually just watched Minority Report yesterday.
Oh, you finally saw it.
It was outstanding.
It's good, huh?
Outstanding. Other films like Amistad, I've yet to watch Munich and AI. Those are next. But there are a lot of political.
I think you'd like Munich.
Right. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and he says that I think in the documentary film, as he got older, he began to get more involved with, I guess, this sense of patriotism. And I think it says to me that while we want to think of Spielberg as like, neoliberal in the sense, and he probably is. Let's face it, he's in his 70s.
Oh
as
yeah,
most of them
course.
Are.
Yeah.
But to have somebody from that perspective and that generation also acknowledge the blind patriotism and propaganda that happens in our country, I think it should be, more out there. To
well,
explore.
He really addresses that in Munich.
Right.
Well, you should watch that. But
right.
Just by the end of Munich is just like, what was the point of all this bloodshed?
Right.
Like, how is anything better now? Basically.
And I think in Bridge of Spies, as Spielberg says, the character of James B. Donovan, the Tom Hanks character, is like, that's who we all wish we could be. That's the kind of patriotism that everyone should have. Is maybe not a patriotism of a singular country, but of compassion.
Mm-hmm.
So it resonates with me, like
America.
America.
All
So
right.
is that 2015?
Yeah, 2015.
Wow.
All right.
Oh wait, before we go on, Moreno had other movies you want to mention real quick for the films that came out that year?
Yeah. The Revenant came out that year, which I thought it was an okay movie.
Fuck Leo and his Oscar.
I didn't really care for it that much, surprisingly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great film as far as its direction, but I don't care about it.
Yeah.
Am I alone?
Yeah, me too. It's like, it's good. I don't know.
But
I
there
just
was
don't
a
care.
bear.
He ate a bear. See, that's the real sequel. What's her name? Comes in for
Brave.
revenge because she ate her mother.
But again, 2015 spawned probably my most hated film of all time, also, with Terminator Genesis. Disgusting.
Hateful Eight, which again,
It's good, but I don't really care about it.
Yeah. Age of Ultron came out that year.
And people hate it, but I like it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not
really.
great, but like I had a lot of fun watching that movie, and I still do. So
I love it.
Ant-Man came out that year.
it's soured, unfortunately. Like I think the sequel really soured my whole like interest in that particular character, but for what it was serviceable.
Sicario.
That's a
Oh,
great
Oh.
one.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's really good.
I
It made you mad, huh?
I watched that movie, and literally the second that it was over, I turned to David, and I was like, "Let's go buy it." So we went to Walmart.
That's
Jurassic World came out that year.
That was a big event.
Yeah.
I mean, none of us really, I think, would call that great, but it was great fun watching a Jurassic movie in the theater and
I
watching
think that
just
was
dinosaurs.
the first movie I saw in IMAX.
Really?
Which, like, I don't know if it was a good idea because I'm not the biggest fan of like dinosaurs.
And you watched
it's kind of scary.
Really? I had no idea.
Oh boy.
What else? The Green Room. I don't know if you guys have seen that one.
Yes.
It's a good one.
It's really good.
Is that with Anton Yelchin?
Yeah.
Oh, rest in peace, Anton Yelchin.
Yeah.
Creed came out that year.
That's right.
Creed's real good.
What else? What else?
I like
What else?
I like Steve Jobs.
Uh-huh.
The film Steve Jobs. Danny Boyle. I think it was one of his. I don't know how many he's directed, but he directed that movie. No, wait, not Danny Boyle. I mean, Sorkin.
2016.
Okay.
Wait, there was one more. The Good Dinosaur came out that year.
Oh yeah, we can't forget that one.
If only we
beautiful. Okay.
So 2016.
For the honorable mentions, let's speed it up.
Well, Kyle had 3 movies. I mean, that's why it took longer.
Yeah, fuck him. But we're 1 hour in, and we've only gone through 1 year. Okay, 2016. Donald Trump got elected president. Russian hacking, the Syrian civil war, Brexit, the Zika outbreak, Flint, Michigan water crisis. Holy fuck. Pulse nightclub shooting. Give me a. Oh god. The opioid crisis. Give me something good, please.
Trump.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I mean, all the other news just trumps it all, right?
Besides all the news, I feel like 2016 was a really good year in movies. So why don't we move on to
that? Okay, yeah. Do you guys? That was the holy fuck. That was the most depressing one. Okay. Sure. 2016. Go ahead, guys.
Honorable mentions. My honorable mention for 2016 is Captain America: Civil War.
What? Not number 1? Okay.
I have 2. It's also Civil War and Kubo.
Civil War and Kubo?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Moana, make way.
I'm sorry, I've never heard of that. I guess it must have had a shit box office and everyone instantly forgot about it once it left theaters.
All right, we should start there. So Moana, Kyle, what is it about Moana you love so much?
Oh god, I can't. I need a whole goddamn podcast, but I guess I'll.
You do have a whole goddamn podcast. It's a Disney podcast. Go fuck yourself.
You're right. We do. Moana. Hey, goddamn, like this is like the pièce de résistance of like all the movies that came out before, in terms of like Disney princesses. For me personally, I think that it's such an inspiring film. I love its attention to detail in terms of its animation. I love what this movie says about empathy, about like, you know, and then Moana, she's tied close second with my favorite Disney princess, Mulan. And I just think that this is a downright gorgeous movie. I love the music. I love the score. I love the vibe about this movie. The aesthetic is absolutely gorgeous. I thought nothing of it when I went to go watch it, but then when I came out of it, I absolutely adored and loved it and fell in love ever since with this movie. It's such a weird thing that this is a Disney princess movie and like there's no romantic inklings in this movie, and I think that's like unique, other than Mulan. But then at the end, like, you know that her and Shen got hooked up. But I think that this is an incredible movie. Speaks volumes. One of the best Disney movies, I think. Top 10 for me.
So, Peter, this is interesting. I want to get your reaction on this, because it also applies the Kyle principle. Is back up here, in the sense that Kyle said he loves Moana so much, he's refused to go back and watch Zootopia because that stole Moana's Oscar for Best Animated Feature.
Stole its thunder. It's rightly deserved thunder.
Zootopia is better, so it's okay.
You bitch.
It is.
It got the money. It got the Oscar. It doesn't need your vote, your views. It's okay. Stay mad. That's my response.
It's a nice to me. I love the film. I love its visuals. I love the music. I love the character, and of course, it is a great capper to the careers, the directorial duo of John Musker and Ron Clements. Just giants in the industry of animation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think when your Disney career is done, they freeze you cryogenically and put you in the same chamber as Walt Disney's head. So once they get the technology, they can morph all their talent and put it into one supercomputer. And they won't have to pay anyone. They'll just shoot out scripts every 5 minutes. Yeah. But that's in the future. We don't have to go there yet.
Our time machine doesn't go there yet.
What did you guys bring up? You brought up some shit. Oh, Kubo and
Civil War.
Yes.
Civil War.
Kubo is amazing. I love that movie. Yeah, the animation, the story, I love. That's it.
Okay.
I would agree.
Yep. And Civil War?
I mean, I feel like, in terms of like biggest movie of the decade, at least for me, Civil War and Endgame were like up here, or like really high up there.
I think you're right on that. And nobody else's opinion matters in that fact. No, the Civil War is great.
Well,
and it's the third consecutive. Yes, Marina?
And then plus like, I mean, Spider-Man coming in, like, yeah. I love
No, it was an exciting experience for sure.
Yes,
I mean, this is
yes.
the third consecutive Captain America movie that doesn't get the official win. So there's something about that, but it still gets a mention. Deeply underappreciated movie. That's all I'll say. It's great.
At least it made its money.
That's right. It made $1 billion. How much money did your movie make?
I'm sorry, I can't understand you, Kyle. My films don't speak broke.
Oh my god. I felt that. That was perfect. Damn it. Oh god. Wow.
It hurts. It hurts so
Official
fucking
lists?
much.
Are we done? Oh yeah, the official lists. Go ahead, Peter.
The Handmaiden.
The Handmaiden?
Yeah. That is the whole title. End of title.
Alexis.
La La Land.
Okay. Kyle.
Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Oh no, he did it. Oh god.
And mine is La La Land.
Of course. So
Okay.
this is a musical that doesn't sing every word. That's interesting. We should start there.
Well, I mean, to start with La La Land, I mean, we can share this, Miranda, because we also do have a shared experience. This is
Yeah.
one of the times that you and I went to go see a movie together in Chula Vista.
This year, like I said, this year in terms of movie was a great year, and a lot of them we went to go see together.
That's right. Yeah, we went to go see Arrival and Moonlight, and then
Rogue
and of course
One.
this
Came out
one.
this year?
Yeah. Huh?
Oh yeah, Rogue One. Yeah, Rogue
Yeah.
One.
Oh, that was an experience, but I'm sure we'll get to that.
You think about La La Land though, it's like we didn't actually, because I think it opened, it had a late run, so we didn't see it until January. I mean, as far as for me, it was such a crucial point to have something that was just so reviving in that sense, and because at that point, holy fuck, that's like post-Trump election 2016. Like this is like right in the aftermath of that, and this is kind of like what I needed to just, you know, cope with all the damn things that were going on, you know, to bring a little bit of levity and light back into, and in fantasy in a way, back into the world, with a story of romance with beautiful music and wonderful actors singing and dancing. into what I think was the most. It felt like the most classic musical in a long time. Clearly, that was the intent, but I think it was just, it was pure magic, and I think you'd feel the same.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I'm obsessed with this movie till this day. I think everything that he was trying to do with this movie, I feel like he got it to a T where...
Of the group, you're the super fan of classic musicals. Or the big musical fan, anyway.
Yeah. And, I mean, yeah, like, it felt that way, and I love it. And, like, all the callbacks to the musicals, to old Hollywood, it was great.
And, I mean, the dynamic between Stone and Gosling is always just electric, and especially here.
And even then, like, the story with them too, like,
right,
it hits you.
I mean, to me, one of those moments that hits hardest is, you know, toward the end, and I remember a lot of people were just like, you know, like about to like burst after the whole audition sequence, and then like Emma Stone, like, and her delivery is perfect too, because she's just about to break down, where she like tells them, "I'm always gonna love you." And that hit so hard, I think, to like a lot of people, and at least because we went with a group of people, right? We went to go see this movie. Yeah, everybody was for it. Yeah, and it won Best Picture for 8 seconds. So
sick invite. Oh God, that was so amazing. Oh, that was incredible. Because he was being a bitch all night, Alexis, about the fucking Oscars. Oh yeah, you were. And I was gonna rub it in your face. And then the fact that I knew that when they called La La Land, I knew that like you had so much hope and optimism and just happiness in your heart. And when you found out it was a Moonlight, I knew it was destroyed, and it made me so happy. I called you immediately to rub it in your face. I don't think he answered till like the next day. He didn't answer.
Yeah, he just completely...
Yeah, he ghosted us like a bitch.
We tried calling him for
I
like
knew it.
a half an hour.
Well, I mean, to me, that was the moment where I stopped taking those people seriously. I mean...
Because your movie didn't win.
Because his movie didn't win.
Well, you know what? Everyone here has a lot of gripes because their movie didn't win. So all of you shut the fuck up right now. Especially you, Kyle, with Les Mis. Because you threw a tantrum over Les Mis not winning Best Picture when nobody even thought it was going to, even a close of a possibility for that to happen. Nobody even wanted it to happen. Les Mis winning Best Picture. Come on. But as far as like La La Land is concerned, that was the third year where a film, my favorite movie of the year, was literally inches away from clinching a victory for Best Picture, and it was the third time the universe completely smacked my face away. And the fact that it was like that whole like thing of like it winning for 8 seconds, like it had me fooled, and I was in just like the highest of highs. And then when it ended up being fake, I have honestly one of the most humiliating experiences of my whole life. I've never been so just destroyed, embarrassed, and then just like dead.
Oh, it was beautiful. It's one of the highlights of my life.
My favorite moment was watching Emma Stone laughing on stage because they didn't win.
They were both laughing at it, yeah. Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, I think, were laughing. They went on stage, right? They were all accepting the award.
Everybody had gone on stage, and they were just like... What's going on?
Yeah.
Here's a serious question though. Which had the most emotional like single like breakdown like song, like where the individual sang like a heartbreaking song at the end? Was it Emma Stone and her whole like dream song Audition, or was it Jennifer Hudson and Cats when she's singing about, you know, being out on the streets at the end, where she won the Jellicle choice?
Definitely Jennifer Hudson.
Which was more emotional? Jennifer Hudson? I was going to say Jennifer Hudson too, but I wanted to throw it out there.
Grisabella, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's 2 votes for Grisabella. So.
She just wanted to be noticed by everybody. She just wanted everybody to not be so damn mean.
Yeah.
So Rogue One, Kyle.
I want to save mine for last. Peter, the Handmaiden.
Okay.
I did a Google search because I had no idea what the fuck you were talking about. So
I told you my films start to take a turn at 2016. Yeah, The Handmaiden, directed by Park Chan-wook. It's a South Korean film. 1930s Korea, in the period of Japanese occupation, a young woman is hired as a handmaiden to a Japanese heiress who lives in a secluded life on a large countryside estate with her domineering uncle. But the maid has a secret. She's a pickpocket recruited by a swindler posing as a Japanese count to help him seduce the heiress to elope with him, rob her of her fortune, and lock her up in a madhouse. The plan seems to proceed according to plan until the woman discovers some unexpected emotions. This is an incredible film. Like, this is tippy top tier filmmaking. I know you guys haven't seen it, so it's like,
We didn't even know it existed, Peter.
Yes, I know. Okay. But it's sort of like a sexual thriller, so to speak.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's one of those. But it also has, like, the way it's shot. It has a particular sense of humor. You see, I think you guys have seen at least quite a bit of Korean films at this point. Where at least Bong Joon-ho's films, and you see, like, there's actually an interesting way in which they're able to combine drama and humor and a lot of different things into one and make it work. It has it's a tone that's very different than American films, and this film very much carries on that tradition. The performances are all amazing. It's a very interesting story, the way it's broken up and told, because it's not told linearly. It's kind of told from, like, 3 points of view, and it goes back and forth in time as you learn new information. And, like, the first third of the film, you think you know exactly what's going on, and then they kind of go back a little bit, and you're like, oh shit, this completely
You were Ryan
turns
Johnson.
it on its head. My expectations were subverted several times, I will say that. But no, like, it's just such a good film. It's so intriguing. Like, it's one of those films where I watch it and you know you're being, that a master storyteller is making this film. Like, at every point, everything just feels so well laid out. It's to, like, when you find out information, who the characters are, you know, when you find out what about the character and how it influences this to that, their acting, the music, the way it's shot, it's really, really good. I might throw it up for a To the Table one day when we start doing that again, you know, which will be soon. But that one probably won't be soon.
Throw it in my direction. I wanna check it out. And
you want to check it out? Okay. It's good. It's really good. So yeah. There's not much discussion that can be had because no one's fucking seen it. So yeah, that's my pick.
Kyle.
Yes.
Rogue 2.
Rogue 2. We found
a Star Wars story.
A story. Okay. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. We mentioned before about The Force Awakens, and at this point we were kind of riding on a Star Wars high at this point, and I was excited. I was, like, overly excited about this one, and it, like, to me, I was like, yes. And also, it's like kind of a separate thing all in itself. I don't like predicting about what happens in a movie, but this one, I was, like, hoping that it would bridge perfectly between episode between this movie coming out and A New Hope, and just go right into A New Hope due to its subject matter upon the Death Star. And I was overwhelmed that I got what I wanted and then some in this. I got a kick-ass third act. I got some good Star Wars action. I got some good Star Wars shit happening in the movie. I liked a couple of the cast of characters in the movie. K2SO is brilliant, and it will go down in history as one of the best, I guess, like, side characters with Star Wars. But overall, like, honestly, you could make a good argument for the third act, and when everything was leading up, everything was like, downright dour and everything like that, because they had the plans, but everybody died. There was nothing left on Scarif until, like, they were like to the very last minute they managed a victory, and I love that. I love that about this movie. It was so close. I mean, if there was any moment where I felt what Ego felt in Ratatouille, when he took a bite and automatically was transported to his childhood, to where I first saw the first Star Wars, that was it. And I just had an out of body experience. Threw me back. I cried for I don't know how long. All you guys
were there.
All you guys were laughing at me.
For anyone listening, this is what you need to understand. He wasn't just like crying, he was sobbing loudly in a packed theater for a while. I just want to paint the picture. Okay, go ahead.
I mean, to be clear though, nobody really heard that because they were all like cheering and like being loud and everything. So like you wouldn't hear it. Although the second you look in Kyle's direction, you were like, "What the fuck?" I think all of us had the instant reaction of just laughing hysterically.
Oh my god! Like I looked over and I immediately like just fell apart.
Oh my god!
Because I knew what it was at the fucking Leia, the whole thing. I was like you knew what triggered it. I think that's what made me laugh so much.
But it was beyond any of our wildest dreams in terms of just how massive that outpouring of emotion was.
Yeah. You would have thought he just saw the eyes of God. Like, oh my god.
It's the ending of Lighthouse, but less horrifying.
I don't know about less horrifying, but yeah.
Oh, thanks, buddy. But god damn, like no movie has made me feel that way in forever. Yeah, it was an out of body, almost spiritual in a sense. I love Star Wars. I could go on forever about Star Wars. But like this movie, it hit the right spots. It took me back.
It was like made in a lab to hit your exact pressure points emotionally.
Yes, and god, this movie, fucking movie, good. Rogue One. You've heard the stories if you listen to past podcasts before. It's good. It's good shit. Really good shit.
2017, Peter, take us back.
All right, let's go back. Donald Trump is now president.
Yay.
The Mueller investigation, because that really ended well. Greater tensions with North Korea. The Me Too movement. The massacre in Las Vegas. Okay, let's look for a good one. Terrorism? No, that's not. The opioid epidemic? No. No. Come on. Give me one good one. Oh, a total solar eclipse. That's neutral. Yeah.
I mean,
That
I
is
think
it.
the Me Too movement could be considered a positive thing. I mean, it came at
Yeah, that's true. It's a positive step forward. I would agree with that. Yeah, yeah. It just does feel weird calling
It
the event.
positive.
It feels weird. But I think it technically is. So yeah, let's get into it. 2018, no 17. Any honorable mentions for you guys?
Only one for me, and that's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
Trash.
Alexis.
Coco.
Okay, and mine is Spielberg.
Okay, Moreno, we'll start with you. Not Spielberg, Coco. Let's go on with.
Are you okay?
Is one really okay? Or as Peter likes to call it, Coco?
Coco.
Coco.
I mean, it's Coco. I love it. It made me cry. The story is good. Yeah, I love it. It's great.
It was an emotional time for your family, wasn't it?
10 out of 10.
Would do again.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, why was it emotional for her family?
Because the movie's emotional.
Oh, okay.
Like, I meant that they were emotionally moved
Yes.
by the movie. And they, like, I remember when, she always says this, but, like, the kind of stories that it sparked out of her mother and the things that in this film that were very much like her childhood, like Santa Cecilia, which is the town that Miguel...
Which my mom actually ended up going to.
Oh, she visited?
Yeah.
Wow. And how was that like for her?
I mean, she was just like sending me pictures all over the place. She was like, "Oh my god, this is where this happened," blah blah blah. But yeah, it was cool. No, but for me, like, why I got emotional was because, when I mean, it's been like a while, but my mom's only brother passed away when I was little, and like out of like 6 kids, he was the only guy and the rest were all girls. And my grandma, like, and I mean, I think this is just like part of the culture. They tend to what's the word I'm looking for, like they chiquear
the boys.
Yeah, what is
They
the
baby
word?
them?
Yes, baby the boys. Sorry if this offends, but like it's true. And so like when my uncle passed away, it took a really big toll on my grandma, to the point where she got into like a really big depression. I mean, obviously, like, it's one of her kids to begin with, but like that's like her baby or that was her baby. And yeah, like we all saw it. Like my grandma, like her health started going bad and she already was, not in the great health to begin with, to the point where it did eventually kill her. Like, not to be like all depressing or whatever, but like it did. And so the ending of this movie where Coco was with her dad at the end in the land of the dead, that got to me because it just made me think of my grandma, like, finally being with her son. So yeah.
Yeah. All of that and more. This movie really was emotional.
Yes.
It was really good. Yeah. I agree.
I know we just talked about Steven Spielberg, and here we are again with the documentary. Although he didn't make this one.
A
This
certain
is-
individual keeps bringing his name up.
This
so.
is from. I mean,
God knows
technically
why.
speaking, he's not the most. He ain't the director that pops up the most, including on my list anyway. Just for the record. But in terms of this film, it was a documentary film by Susan Lacey. It just reminds me why I love movies and why I go to movies. And, you know, to me, like, I've always really loved Spielberg, but it was this documentary film, and then just looking at his large list of films that he's made, but then also just really just rare insight into what drives him and what, you know, makes him want to make movies and how he sees them, and why, just listening to him talk about why he worships cinema, and also the events that led him and that inspired him to do these things. To me, it's like, if anybody ever asks, okay, what is it about movies that's so special? I throw them this documentary and show them just, you know, a lot of people dismiss it as just like pure entertainment, and that's it. But the movies have a lot to say about our lives and society and culture, and they can and art.
Sounds like you're talking about Joker.
And art is so much more than just something to be looked at. It's meant to be consumed in a way that can inspire and you know, do all those things again. So yeah, this was definitely one of and it's easily rewatchable. I've seen it several times. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a good documentary. Yeah, you see a lot of insight into shit that you otherwise wouldn't have.
I know it pissed off Kyle because they apparently threw shade at Hook.
Oh, did they? I don't remember that.
Yeah, they did. The only time they brought the movie up was to list it as a failure.
Why are you laughing at that?
Well, the documentary is from Steven Spielberg's point of view, and Steven Spielberg himself considered it a failure.
In ways, he does consider it a failure, and a lot of people do consider it a failure. I mean, we have a whole episode on Hook on Red Spotlight where Kyle and I just delved into it.
Everything that Kyle likes, we've devoted multiple episodes to. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah, that's it. That's the only reason.
So Guardians 2.
Guardians 2.
Guardians Volume 2. Holy crap. It's my favorite MCU movie. If you want further insight of like why I love it and the intricacies of all that bullshit, check out our audio commentary that we did last year leading up to Avengers Endgame.
And also,
that was a marathon.
Yeah, it was a marathon. And also, Moreno and I had recent podcasts that'll be going up in which I say repeatedly, even if all it takes for Kyle to cry is for the Guardians to just fart in the wind, and then that'll be it.
Yeah.
So
I love these characters so goddamn much. Like this was like the precursor was, I know it wasn't okay. Peter.
Yes.
I love the first Guardians, you asshole. It's just that there was other movies that like that shifted in the wind.
That's no excuse. That's no excuse. No excuse. How dare you? How dare you?
I was just left hanging there.
But
I know.
The only Guardians.
But Guardians.
I was the sole Guardian. You know what's up with that?
But Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, it just like it propelled what I loved about everything in the first one, and just
it is better.
It is a better film, and to me, like this, just I don't know, like the cast of characters is just amazing. Like Rocket, he has his moment to shine in this, and everybody has their moment to shine, and it's so like if you popped it in, you couldn't tell that it was an MCU movie, you know. It is so again like this is what makes these movies so unique, is that they're so divorced from everything that's going on the ground in terms of Earth and everything like that, whereas the Kree like to call it the Terran. They never tasted Terran before, but it is emotional. The whole moment, it has iconic lines that you know of. I'm Mary Poppins, y'all, but the one that gets to me is he wasn't, you know, he may have been your father, but he wasn't your daddy boy. Like that moment gets me. And Michael Rooker's performance as Yondu, I think, is like bar none one of the best. It's just a downright gorgeous film.
It gets me so angry. Not the movie, but it gets me so angry that people in general, look back at that movie as like an anomaly and a failure. And what I love about Guardians 2 is its absolute sincerity and its absolute willingness to make an entire blockbuster commercial movie about dealing with your fucking emotions and like expressing those unresolved feelings. And I think it says something about modern day audiences that a film that is entirely meant to, spark, emotional. It's a film talking about your damn emotions in a grown up way, and like dealing with crap and everything, and yet people seem to be bored by that. And to me, like, this is why James Gunn is an amazing filmmaker, and this is why the Guardians are wholly his, and why they work, because it is his heart that is on display in this movie. And to me, I find it enraging that we just can't have more films, more blockbuster commercial films that, prioritize heart over spectacle.
Well, remember, just was it the last one when we were talking about Mad Max, that I kind of brought up something similar to that, where it's like we can't have these sort of blockbusters that just feel personal, and made
spectacle
with this.
Is great, but every now and then it gets boring. And a film like Guardians 2, which has something to say more than just having to do something, it matters.
Candy is good, but there's only so much you could stomach without like actually having protein.
Yeah. I would agree. It's the frosting on top of cupcakes is delicious, but you can't just lick the frosting and put the cupcake back.
Yeah, there's actual substance within the cupcake itself.
Yeah. So yeah. Oh, let's get to the official lists.
Okay.
What are your guys's for?
Let's go with you, Peter. What's your
No.
movie?
Let's go with you.
Last Jedi.
Moreno.
I second that.
Kyle.
I thirdly do that as well.
A Ghost Story.
So this is the reverse. This is the
we're
reverse
never
Scott
gonna-
Pilgrim, basically. Okay, and in this case, we're actually right.
We're never gonna Oh, fuck you. We're never gonna wholeheartedly agree.
I mean, I would have. Well, that's why I wanted you guys to go first. If none of you picked Last Jedi, I would have picked Last Jedi. But since you guys did, I picked this one.
We were all
my
going to pick
God.
Last Jedi.
Fucking
Come
hipster.
on.
Well, because I very much want to talk about this film, so I needed to.
It's very
need
hard
to
because I think,
ensure.
if I can speak for Moreno, Kyle, and I, are the films that we just mentioned as our honorable mentions. If Last Jedi wasn't like around, they would have been our like favorite of the year. But then
But it ruined Star Wars.
Oh god.
All right, go ahead, guys. Or should I go first? I'll go first real quick. I haven't made any of you guys watch this film, right?
Nope,
No.
but it's
Okay.
on Amazon and it's on my list.
Yes, it's A Ghost Story by David Lowery. It's all about time. Recently deceased, a white-sheeted ghost returns to his suburban home to console his bereft wife, only to find that his spectral state he has become unstuck in time, forced to watch passively as the life he knew and the woman he loves slowly slips away.
Fun, campy stuff.
Yeah. Well, I told you shit got depressing after 2016. I don't know what to tell you. And it wasn't a conscious decision. It just did. But this film really connected with me. And it
Because
very
you
much
too are somebody living in a
I'm very much a spectral ghost. No, it's because
Alexis calls you a demon.
Yeah, but I mean,
You
haters,
called Moreno a demon. I mean, like, what
haters
goes
are
around
gonna
comes
hate.
around.
Haters are my motivators. That's all I know.
The very
it's-
first podcasts that we've ever had, you called that woman a demon. right?
Me?
Yes, you.
I don't recall.
But
Oh,
also
fuck off.
also a positive thing that that Peter has said about Moreno is that he believes that Alexys Moreno was put on this earth by God to personally test him.
I don't remember ever saying any of these things, but okay.
You're a liar. You're such a liar. I remember as clear as day you said those things.
A ghost story. What the film is very much about is time, basically. It says it in there, but also this idea of, in the grand scheme of things, do we matter? Kind of shit, what we do, who we are, the connections we make, do they matter or do they not? And I find it very interesting, and it spoke to me in a way because that's a question that's I think is really interesting. What matters and what doesn't, and who decides what matters and what doesn't, in the great big known universe anyway. And it's so interestingly put together. It's just this very slow, melancholic ghost story, so to speak. It's not a scary one. Well, it can be scary in an existential sense, but it's never it's never fully depressing. There's always just this sort of underlying optimism to it that isn't always visible, but at least I saw it. At least that's what I took away from it anyway. Maybe I'm taking the wrong things away from it, but that's what I took away from it. And it's a film that after I saw, I just thought about and thought about and thought about. And even to this day, I still find myself sometimes thinking about it. And it's a film, I don't know, I want to talk about, but no one's seen it. So, yeah, and because it's had such a profound impact on me as a film, I just really wanted to include it. But luckily you guys all picked The Last Jedi, so I was able to. So yeah.
To add on to that, I was completely surprised that you didn't, because of all the times that you talk about it, you rant about it and everything.
No
like
one's
that.
watched The Last Jedi more than Peter Martinez.
Yeah, I mean,
No one on Earth.
No.
I mean,
On Earth.
I'm pretty sure you could recite the entire movie front to back.
I mean, if you guys want to see my TV right now.
Oh my god.
No, I'm kidding. It's not on. But it could have been, because I've seen it so many times. But I also feel like I've ranted about. That's another thing. I feel like I've said everything about The Last Jedi at least 500 times, all on these podcasts. So
What about Rise of Skywalker?
Who? I don't know her. Sorry.
We're teased for our upcoming audio commentary, Rise of Skywalker.
I don't know if I could speak for Alexys Moreno and Alexis.
I do it
Soto.
all the time. Yeah, go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure we've all had our fair share of ranting of why everybody else is ridiculous or not liking this movie, because we sure as hell love it. The Red Spotlight Entertainment crew.
I don't get it.
Yeah, we all do not get it at all.
I had a year-long fucking just dive into the subculture that is The Last Jedi hate to try and understand. And I've walked away with, beats the fuck out of me.
But even then, I think we know the answer, though. I mean, there are two types.
In a lame sense, yeah.
But there are two types. First and foremost are the sexists. Second of all, there are the hardcore fans who absolutely are solely interested in manufactured products.
They're interested in the frosting.
Right. Well, it's more than that, though. I think because it's just the blandest of frosting possible, because they're just interested in having in-universe propaganda regurgitated back at them. All they want is what they know. And the reason, like, a lot of people who fall into this category are like, well, Rian Johnson's a great filmmaker, but I don't think that Star Wars is the kind of franchise you can, like, do anything creative or original to. And I mean, I feel that comment just says everything, doesn't it?
Okay, I remember something that what's his name? Christoph. Sorry, we just did a Frozen 2 audio commentary, and that's fresh on the mind right now.
Oh, why wasn't I invited?
You were. You were.
Why wasn't
I was not.
Yeah, you were.
I
remember talking to you about it. So.
No.
Okay, so what's his name? Harloff, Christian Harloff.
Holy shit!
That shithead.
Your audio kind of fucks up.
Mine?
Now and then. Yeah.
This is the fucking
It's
ghost.
the ghost.
Is it the ghost still?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's the ghost light.
It's funny because people listening are not going to hear that. It's only us in the hangout call that we can hear that for whatever reason. But it's not picked up on Kyle's mic, from what I've heard.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
It
That's
sounds
weird.
like just randomly Kyle goes through demon puberty. It's weird.
That's what we're hearing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Black Phillip. What can I say? But he said that this is a good movie, just not a good Star Wars movie. And that comment pisses me off because, like, you don't get to say that, you know?
Well, he can say it. I just don't know what that means.
I
feel
don't
like a lot of
either.
I feel like a lot of people have like they've heard that and go like, okay, yeah, like this makes sense. It's a good movie, but not a good Star Wars movie. I don't get what that means.
Okay, what it means is that they didn't get the lore that they wanted.
But
it was a competently made movie.
it seems like they're admitting it's a good film, but they wanted Luke to do 50 backflips.
They didn't want him
and-
to
and-
die.
Yeah, they didn't want him to die. They wanted him to do 50 backflips.
But you see, my perspective is a little bit like, I mean, I agree with all of that, but it just, to me, it was a wake-up call because, like, I used to be one of those, like, all about the lore and everything, but as somebody who came from that perspective, nothing in this movie went against what I thought Star Wars was. That's why I was just so confused. It's like, okay, it's one thing for a movie to go against everything that's been established beforehand, but The Last Jedi, I felt, enriched everything more by using what we knew of Star Wars to be. I just think it was a wake-up call because a lot of people who claim to love Star Wars don't understand what it even is about, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just what it comes down to.
Yeah, for me, in a less harsher sense, and I've said this before, The Last Jedi, I had a moment during like the first climax of the film, because there's two climaxes. So good you climax twice.
That's the tagline for the film.
That's the tagline for The Last Jedi. I had a point where I was like, oh my god, like I'm watching a Star Wars movie. Like, to me, it was the first time since the original films where it's like, this feels like that. This feels like the next chapter of those stories, and I love it. More so than Rogue One or The Force Awakens or Solo or anything else, even more so than the Clone Wars or anything.
Well, I just think
It
my distinction
felt
would be
like
that I felt that with The Force Awakens, but with Last Jedi, the thing that I would add on to it, wow, I'm watching a great Star Wars.
Well,
That to me is what...
The Force Awakens felt
like we had already seen all of this.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't dispute
felt-
any of
Which
that.
is fine.
I'm
it
just
was fine
saying
for
that...
the first one, but like with this, like this
Right.
is what we needed for a second Star
I
Wars
agree
movie.
wholeheartedly. I don't
and I
dispute
just don't.
that.
I can't like comprehend when people are like, "No, I didn't like this movie." Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, I had this friend of mine in DC last year, where he asked me, "What did I think of The Last Jedi?" And I was like, so sure he hated it. And he's like, because this is what he told me. He watches all the Star Wars, but he's not like a super fan. And then like he wanted my reaction, and I said Last Jedi is fucking amazing, and he was like, yeah, isn't it? And he was like reacting in like this just sense of relief, because a lot of his friends who are quote unquote hardcore Star Wars fans trashed The Last Jedi. And it's so weird. But I think that actually there is truth that people who are casual film goers that enjoy Star Wars as just films and films alone, I think they're more likely to have really enjoyed Episode 8 than people who are like all about the books and the video games and the TV shows. And again, I'm that, but I mean, it was great. It's honestly, to me, it's, I think the best way of saying just how completely aloof we were, or just like thrown off by it, it's like the anti-BVS, how Peter said it.
Yeah, it's like the opposite.
Because people think that movie's a masterpiece.
Yeah, but then the critics and like regular people hated it, and then with BVS, like regular people and critics loved it, but then Star Wars fans hated it. Like, I think it's boiled down to this. Like, it's the prequel generation. I think people grew to love Star Wars as a science fiction universe.
Oh, but
here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to.
If I could debunk the prequel generation thing, like,
Yeah.
I listened to a couple of podcasts that absolutely love the prequels and love this movie as well.
Well, yeah, there's three types of fans. There's the types that love literally anything that's Star Wars. There's the types that, you know, love the prequels but hate the sequels, and those that love the sequels aren't that hot on the prequels. Both seem to love the original trilogy, though. And they have different views, obviously, on what the original trilogy is. And I guess what The Last Jedi made me realize is what I consider to be Star Wars just seems to be very different than what a lot of these people consider to be Star Wars, which is fine. But I mean, the fact that they went fucking psycho is not fine.
No, it's not. And they flipped out like nobody's business. It was something that I don't think I've ever witnessed in terms of just how purely angry this movie made them. And then it's ridiculous to me because, you know, it was such a great ride. And then this movie happened. And then the whole, like, from the perspective of like covering this as a story, it just became it soured everything. And then to me, the worst thing that this thing has peddled, besides, you know, the outright sexism, is this notion that, you know, Star Wars is a brand and you can't mess with that. And they're defending vanilla filmmaking, and they're also going out of their way to say that, you have to have a plan. You have to have a plan when you have a trilogy like this. You got to plan everything out. And Miss Kathy Kennedy didn't plan everything by that. Go cut her head off. It's like, I hate that mentality. And I also hate the fact that they really deify Kevin Feige for like planning like this whole thing has just soured so many things that it's just made me hate Star Wars fans.
But see, this is why it's tough to talk about the film, because we haven't even talked about the film. We just talk about
The reception.
Real quick. To me, it's the truest realization of what Star Wars is about and why it's inspiring. To me, it's the best made Star Wars movie. Rian Johnson understands Star Wars better than George Lucas did. I said
it. True that.
I think it's
Wait, did you second it?
Yeah, she seconded it.
Okay, good.
I think it's absolutely incredible. I mean, again, I've seen that film so many fucking times. I think it's such a beautiful send off to the Star Wars.
It's the finale. It's the grand finale.
It's a beautiful send off. You know, I know a lot of people here have a lot of love for The Force Awakens, and I don't dislike it either. I think it's definitely a well-made film. But I really enjoy viewing Star Wars, to me, as the original trilogy, and this is sort of like an epilogue to the rest of to the universe and to Luke's story as well. It's just, I agree, it just represents everything I love about Star Wars in the film. But then also pushes forward in a lot of ways as well.
Speak of the devil, god damn, Mark Hamill's performance is just downright like insane.
Oscar worthy.
Yes, Oscar worthy. Yes, very much so. I mean, everybody is on their A game in this movie.
I'll put it this way: if he was in Bridge of Spies, he most definitely would have won a Best Supporting Actor.
Would it help?
Oscar?
We got the cheeky bastard over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mark Hamill, gorgeous performance from him.
Should we move on to the next year?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things we've said about Last Jedi already.
Yeah, we have multiple shows, multiple commentaries, multiple videos. Go listen to those. So the year 2018. Let's, Peter, you can take us back.
Oh shit. Okay.
Hopefully some good stuff.
Fuck.
He's trying hard. It's okay.
I don't have anything ready. SpaceX successfully launches its Falcon Heavy rocket. Sorry, I didn't have anything prepared for 2018.
The Democrats retake control of the House of Representatives.
Yeah. Paul Manafort is indicted with 5 federal charges.
I remember this story. The FBI raided Michael Cohen's office because of the Stormy Daniels, right? That was the year of Stormy Daniels?
Yes, the Stormy Daniels year. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't have much keyed up for 2018. Trump orders targeted strikes in Syria to retaliate for a suspected chemical weapons attack. Yeah, just all around shitty. Just so. Yeah.
I mean, that's just the Trump years, right? I mean, it's just there's
Things really sour.
4 more years. 4 more years.
So honorable mentions for 2018. Now, Moreno, you're first.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Kyle, you're honorable mention.
I have 2. Hereditary and Won't You Be My Neighbor.
My honorable mention is Won't You Be My Neighbor.
Okay. I guess we'll start with Won't You Be My Neighbor. Won't You Be My Neighbor, it just like, it probably displays what a wonderful man Fred Rogers is. Also a well-made documentary. Cries. I cry. It's a well-made, it gets you in the feels. It's very uplifting and positive and a very, as you could tell, very grim period of time right now. Yeah, and it's the documentary we didn't want but needed, you know. And this is a good thing. This is a really good thing.
One of the best films ever made. One of the best films ever made about one of the best human beings there ever was. I come from it from the perspective of never having been exposed to Mr. Rogers beforehand, and yet fell in love with everything this man was about. This is basically Steve Rogers, but even better if this was an actual person. Again, leading with compassion in his heart above all else, and just human decency and human kindness that for whatever reason seems to be losing its relevance in our DNA as a collective species. It is everything that, at least to me, I hold as an example of what is right, and what you do to people is you be kind and you treat them as if they're worthy as anybody out there right now. Truly, I think a story that we need to listen to and we need to be exposed to. To me, one of the single best films I've ever seen.
Yeah. Ditto. It's just it's great.
Moreno, Spider-Verse. So tell us about Into the Spider-Verse, which before you even start off, I want to say this. Into the Spider-Verse is the single best Spider-Man movie not named Spider-Man 2. At least to me anyway. But again, we're talking about a superhero movie that wears its heart on its sleeve, and goddamn, that's why it's so special. That's why that character is so special. And Phil Lord and Chris Miller, everything they touch, except for Solo because they were booted off that set, turns to gold. Love those filmmakers, and to me, like, what an experience this was to have an animated Spider-Man movie show the live action films how it's done. And they can't even get close to that. So there's your preamble. Take it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, was that pretty much a universal thing that everybody agrees on that movie?
I agree with it. I love this movie.
Yeah.
I've actually watched it like quite a bit since I watched it the first time. The animation is great. The story is great. The characters and freaking I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm like a huge Nicolas Cage fan. Like I'm a huge Nicolas Cage fan. And I didn't know he was going to be in this movie until I heard his voice, and I kind of freaked out.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it's great. I love it.
I hold the match in my hands just to feel something. I'll save that for well, spoilers. You'll see in a bit when I talk about that movie.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, I wholeheartely agree with both
So
of
then,
you.
shall we get into the officials?
Yes, Peter.
So,
What is your
2018, right?
yes.
Oh, right. This is pretty obvious. Roma.
Roma. Okay. Roma. All right. Alexis Soto.
Fahrenheit 11/9.
Oh, his hatred of Trump has propelled that film forward.
Okay.
By Michael Moore.
Alexys Moreno.
Hereditary.
Hereditary.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
You are a demon.
Wow. My number one is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
So, as we were saying about Spider-Verse,
Yes, continue.
That's all it is, Miles. It's a leap of faith. Those words are so like emotionally driven, like, because it's just having faith in yourself. Like, just that's all it is. Just have faith in yourself, and you are greater than you actually believe you are. You know, you could be a hero. You know, just the fact that, you know, stepping up and just being a hero, and, you know, being, you know, rising to the occasion when it's called to action upon what you are, what's the right thing to do. It's just like, don't be down on yourself. There's so many deep messages in this movie that this movie really, really, like, it spoke to me, and I'm always like self-deprecating and just all that stuff, and this movie just like it says, like, you know, hey, you know, you're okay, you know, you're all right. And, you know, again, it is much like what I feel about The Last Jedi, is that you don't have to come from, you know, greatness in order to achieve something, you know. And
well,
this is
you must have loved Rise of Skywalker then.
He
barf,
did.
barf.
Can I just say about Spider-Verse?
Yes.
To me, I think it does two great. It shows why comic book movies are great and why animation is great. To me, I always just find it incredible when you have animated characters have a caliber of emotion that many live action films couldn't even pray to come close to. The sequence in particular where you have Miles' father going to his dorm room after the uncle was killed, and then just trying to reach out to Miles. And again, this is why voice actors, very underrated. The emotion just in the performances of their voices, it's just crazy to me. But I think Into the Spider-Verse just shows in general why animation may perhaps be the best medium in all of filmmaking. it's an argument that can be made, and I think Spider-Verse shows just how great animation is. And it won the Oscar. And it's a Disney animated movie that didn't win the Oscar for a change.
I adore Spider-Man quite a bit.
Really?
Yes,
By the way, go listen to
I
our
do.
commentaries for the Raimi Spider-Man movies, where you get to hear Kyle slurp soup.
Yeah. Oh God.
Well,
Anyways.
I mean, that one was up against Incredibles too, so.
Eh, Fuck that film. No, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is incredible. Again, to me, it's another example of one of those blockbusters that's still able. It's the 500 fucking reboot of a Spider-Man film, but it's still able to be original and interesting in its storytelling and presentation and its heart. It's incredible. I really love that film. I never thought that any Spider-Man film would be able to rival the Raimi films for me, and
It rivals the best of them.
yeah, it does. It really does. It's great.
Do you guys not like the new ones?
Oh, I really like the
Tom
MCU
Holland?
Spider-Man movies.
We like them, yeah.
I like them.
Yeah.
They're okay.
but it's
Yeah,
just like,
they're okay.
but it's like this retelling, I guess, of like a tale as old as time when it comes to Spider-Man. It really sets the bar.
I mean, not
really
to throw
high.
Tom Holland under the bus. I think he's a great Spider-Man, and I think his movies are good. And again, to be extra fair, they're not the trash that was Andrew Garfield's films. Those are complete trash. So we have different, I think, levels of Spider-Man quality films, and I just think
I think
yeah.
Margot Robbie had recently tweeted that
Margot
like,
Robbie.
Yeah, the Amazing Spider-Man is good or something like that.
Oh, those
Yeah.
movies have aged horribly.
No, I hated them at the time, and I hate them even more now.
Yeah,
And I especially hated them at the time because they were like, this isn't that cheesy Raimi crap. This is serious and more comic book accurate.
and the quips. He's quippy.
And it's like, oh, you're making me want to bash my brains in with this bullshit. Oh God.
And again,
No,
I mean,
no.
like, I think especially Homecoming was, it rallied, it's a Spider-Man film that came back and definitely was a good Spider-Man film. But I think we're, in the case that you have with Spider-Verse, you just have something that's just much more potent, much more visceral, in its heart. And it says a lot that, look, I think Raimi's Spider-Man is the best I think that we'll ever get, but this movie almost rivaled it. And just quick to mention about this movie, I loved how it referenced beautifully the Peter Parker infamous dance in Spider-Man 3 in the opening moments of the movie.
That dance is beautiful.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it perfection to me. I can't express my love for that movie enough.
So who was next? We had Hereditary, right?
Yeah.
It's a great movie. I've only seen it twice because
It's scary.
I can't watch it. Like it has to be with a lot of people, and like it has to be during the day. But I don't know. It's just it's so good, and there's so much like to it, but like it's still just like a demon movie, but like more. And the acting of this movie is so good. Yeah, it's great.
I was watching a quick clip of the movie, and then I was like, nope, no, I can't look at this right now. I just
like,
can't.
But,
I
like,
can't.
I want to because it's so good, but I just like it. It's too much.
It's too much to go through, and then in these times, it's not necessarily a good idea to do that. Quickly, Kyle. So we had a show recently at the end of our year show for 2019, and we had remember that moment where she just screamed because I showed her. All I did was I took out my copy of Hereditary on Blu-ray.
Oh, yeah.
She looked at it and she's just screamed out like just by watching the cover
It's
of the
so
movie.
my
scary.
Like, just that threw you back for a loop, and it's good stuff.
Yeah, I don't fuck with demons. I saw it once in theaters, and I was like, oh my god. I don't like this at all. Like, I feel very uncomfortable.
But like, I love that.
Well, yeah, that shows how effective the film can be. But also fuck that.
Yeah. No, like, I mean, how I said during Insidious, like, I walked out of, like, Chainsaw Massacre because it was too much, but I don't know, I feel like the Insidious movies kind of prepared me for this one. But where I live, there's, like, hardly any, lights, like street lights and stuff. So, and we watched it, like, I think we got out, like, at 1 a.m. from that movie.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, no.
It was, and I was driving. It was terrifying. And then because I went with my brother and the friend.
Did you make sure David's head stayed in the car?
No, he was in the front seat, but there was one of our friends. He was sitting in the back seat. I couldn't, like, and I'm, like, the type of driver who, like, always looks at the mirrors, and I always look at the window mirror. I could not do it. I was so scared driving back home. I mean, even, like, after, like, watching it, after watching it, like, a few days after, I had to sleep with the light on, with the TV on. But it was a great movie.
It's a very unsettling film, and then when you get to the end and just see all that stuff, and that one shot of Toni Collette just doing her thing, you know what shot I'm talking about, and it's just like, what the
I don't know, but don't describe it, please.
No, I won't for your sake, I won't. But it is, like, I don't know, and also, like, underrated acting from Toni Collette in that movie as well. I mean, she's just amazing.
There's just a lot of great shots in the film that are haunting. To me, it's not even that it's not even that remarkable, but just like earlier in the movie, Toni Collette goes into a dark room and she literally sees her dead mom there.
Oh my god, stop.
And she has to flick it on.
Recently, like, since we've been like recording the whole time, I've had the laptop in my room, and if you close it and it's on, it flashes like a light, and obviously, like, my room is like pitch black, so all you see is this light, and I thought of that, like, during the middle of the night. I'm like, I had to sleep with, like, all the pillows on my face, like, nope.
Yeah, this is the kind of horror film that it's too great that you can't, like, just not, talk about. But it's also, I think, all of us is the kind of stuff that legitimately scares us. Like, the whole demonic, like, territory of, like, horror films is like, oh, God, no, I can't handle that shit.
Like, I know there's a lot of things that I obviously miss, like, in the back, but, like, I can't bring myself to watch it again just to find them. Like, another one that I think actually came out that year too, but it's a show on Netflix, The Haunting at Hill House.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is amazing. That one I could watch to find all the things in the background, and then when David told me that there was, like, a crap ton of things in this one, I was like, nope, I can't do it. And even, like, with Midsommar, I can't do it.
And real quick, because you mentioned Mike Flanagan's show on Netflix. I don't know if it's gone noticed here, but Moreno really liked Dr. Sleep. So.
Yes, it did.
Horror had a great decade. You just got to say that.
Yeah.
And, like, it's so weird to me because, like, my friends, all they watch is, like, scary movies. And once I finally, like, love one, they're like, no.
You don't get to love it.
No, that they're like, no, it's not that great. It was okay. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Okay. Fuck that. That's just terrifying. No. No. Fuck out of here with them demons. No.
Speaking of demons, the President of the United States.
Here we go.
So the
Get ready
film,
for an hour-long rant.
Here we go. we have several of those. There's actually a To the Table with this movie with David. I mean, not David, with Peter. So Fahrenheit 11/9 by Michael Moore, to me, I had to have this movie on this list because it's literally the equivalent of me screaming at civilization at the top of my lungs and forever criticizing them, especially to where we are right now in terms of the United States of America, as you know, the politics and where we're going into the future. It was so important for this movie to be on this list because it just says so much about what happened this decade and how we consistently fail to live up to even the simplest of mediocrity in terms of getting anything accomplished for anything or anybody. To me, this film perfectly embodies why it is that I have become so disillusioned with not just politics, not just political officials, but also just people in general. And it forecasts a pretty dark cloud for what's going to happen and what seems like it will happen now because we consistently fail to, I don't know, be anything but stupid and sheep. And the consequences of Trump being elected president continue to happen to this very day. People are dying because of it now on a daily basis. And it's not just about, you know, Donald Trump this or Donald Trump that. It's about why it is that we have such a fucked up system in our country that Trump was even possible. And it's a film that I think is going to be remembered for being entirely right in terms of everything. And yeah.
Also, that's the
Snowflake.
Also, it's the film that I found out that Gwen Stefani was responsible for it all.
Yeah, fuck her.
Yeah, I mean, it's emotional in the terms of just how angry it makes your blood boil. And then we end up in the situation. We had a chance in this election and we fucked it up. So, here's to the next one.
If there's a next one.
Yeah.
Roma.
Yeah. Roma.
Did you forget?
Let's talk Roma.
Apparently it was boring.
Another depressing one. Oh, did someone say it was boring?
Like everybody on the internet.
They're all dumb.
The Grace Randolph crowd in particular.
Fuck them. No, this film was incredible. This is a film that, like, it really transported me. Like, I really got sucked into this world, this time period, these people. And it does start off very slow, but because it's sucking you into the world, it wants to put you in this place and time. And slowly through that, you start to get attached to these characters. You know, it doesn't beat you over the head with it, though. It just sort of slowly happens, because in the same way that you're attached to the people that you're around your whole life just by being around them, that's what the film does. Just by being around these people in this world, you just slowly get in attached and enthralled with their personal lives. And by the time it hits the third act, and that real, like, emotional fallout at the beach, it just hits you with what the film was able to do. It's just visually stunning. The performances are amazing. It's and I think I had said this when we did the review. It made me feel nostalgic for a time that I've never known. And I do feel like that was sort of the point, at least from the director, because the director, I think, was very much pulling from his own childhood and his experiences. I I was just really enthralled with this film, and I really, really loved it. It's one of my favorites from Mr. Alfonso Cuarón, and you can now own it on the Criterion Collection.
Or watch it on Netflix. And by the way, great for Netflix, making some of the best films today.
Yeah. Support both these entities because both of them are doing a good job with film right now. So yeah, Roma, awesome.
All right, Peter, tell us about the year of 2019.
Oh boy, let me tell you about that aged-old place. The scientists released first ever image of a black hole.
Badass.
Yeah. Let me see what else. There was a ban on facial recognition software in the United States. What else? China makes historic first landing on far side of the moon. This is, I don't know, this is funny to me. For the first time, the U.S. sells rice to China. That made me laugh.
It's an irony.
Pigs seen using tools for the first time, so the pig uprising is imminent. World's biggest airplane takes first flight ever. Researchers eliminate HIV from infected mice. Yeah.
And also the genesis of COVID-19.
Oh, at the very tail end of it. Yeah, technically.
But it happened in that year.
When people think about it, they'll think of 2020.
Right.
So,
The year that time forgot. Which will be 2020. Yeah. A lot more positive. 2019.
Yeah.
All things
Didn't
considered.
end well, it looks like.
No. But
No.
look what we're
Calm before the storm. Your guys' honorable mentions?
Kyle?
The Two Popes.
Moreno.
Jojo Rabbit.
And mine is Knives Out.
Okay.
Let's talk.
Yo-Yo Rabbit. Let's talk about Yo-Yo Rabbit. All right. Jojo Rabbit. Honorable mention. Talk to me about that, Moreno.
I did not know what was gonna be of this movie going in. I had heard talk about it just because everybody was complaining. But
Of course.
yes, but coming out, watching it, I thought it was great. I think that the kid who plays Jojo,
Roman Griffin Davis.
yes, I was actually quite sad that he didn't win the Oscar. I thought he was just amazing. I love that we get to see, like, we get to go into his world and feel the things that he feels and come out of it, you know, being hopeful, even though what he goes through is kind of shitty. What's her name? Scarlett Johansson. I mean, wow. I love her in this movie. That twist in the movie, I was not expecting that, and I thought it was it was wild. I thought it was so good. The girl who is hiding in the house, I love her. I love how she's so, like, sarcastic, but, like, not sarcastic towards Jojo, and, like, you know, like, she kind of, like, plays along with him, but, like, at the same time she's like, no, bro,
this is the real shit.
Yeah, I don't know, I love this movie so much. And then the ending, I was all for it. I love it.
Yeah, this movie is really like it's funny, and like it does a complete like tonal shift like when it reaches a certain part, and like where everything makes sense within this confines of the world, and like how it winds up, like where that tonal shift happens, it makes sense in the context with everything. And again, the discourse is like, oh, it's glorifying Nazis and all that stuff. No, they're painting them as fucking idiots. Why do you think it's glorifying it? I don't know. Taika Waititi as the imaginary Adolf Hitler is hilarious. One of the best lines ever. Fuck you, Hitler. Just, it's simple, but it's good. So many good things. Good, rightfully, Taika won an Oscar for this movie. And it good on that. It's one of those movies that you have to kind of see to believe, kind of thing, because it is something different. For sure, like tonally, but the message, I think, should be universal. Hate is stupid. It is downright idiotic.
Hate is always foolish.
Love is always kind.
Wise, my friend, wise.
Wise.
You misquoted Doctor Who. How dare you? You're not a real Doctor Who fan.
I mean, who is actually?
I know, right?
You forgot to adjust your glasses, Alexis.
What I mean,
but yeah, I think it's a good, really good movie. Yeah, Alexis, Soto, do you want to talk about your
Knives Out? I mean, I think it just solidifies, if there needed to be any more, the outstanding filmmaker that Rian Johnson is. How he just bounces from genre to genre and then just makes great film after great film after great film. Also, it's just easily one of the most entertaining films ever in existence. There was an entire week. This movie actually helped me get over the Super Tuesday disaster, because I spent literally an entire week watching this film with audio, with no audio, with 2 different audio commentary tracks, and then also the documentary behind the making of the movie. It's endlessly entertaining. I know I said that a lot, but this one is the purest, I think, embodiment of what that is. It's also, it just like, it is a whodunit, but it's also, as what Ryan also wants to say, is he makes a movie in any genre, but he always brings it back to why we care about movies, and that's characters. And he gives you characters that you can root for, and characters that you can envision as people that you would care about. So, I mean, to me, I think Rian Johnson can do a movie that anybody else does, but even better. I think, to me, like, yeah, he picks apart the genres, but he puts it back together in ways that they remind you why you love those kind of movies. And no one else can do it like him. No one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ditto.
Yeah.
The Two Popes, cinematic classic. I'll leave
Fernando Mariales, what an outstanding movie this is. And honestly, this is, yeah. Kyle, go ahead. I was going to say something, but then I was like, well, yeah.
Cinematic classic. Being raised Catholic, this resonated with me, and seeing these 2 actors just go like mentally toe to toe with each other.
It's such a shame to me. Like, I feel like 10 years ago, both of those actors would have won.
Yeah.
For actor and supporting actor, and damn if those weren't the best performances of the year.
Yeah, and Anthony Hopkins, and who would have thunk it? Anthony Hopkins and Jonathan Pryce put those 2 in a fucking room. Like, honestly, if the whole movie was just them talking and dishing out about religion, drinking
It
wine,
practically was.
playing piano. I know, but they went back into
Right.
into Pope Francis's backstory and everything like that. But if it was just them two, like, I wouldn't mind it at all. Like, just them talking and just them.
I wouldn't have minded the third hour.
Yeah, honestly, this whole movie, like the whole dichotomy of like what's good in the name of morality and religion, and just like how you could divide the two so seamlessly in that retrospect. And I think that's why they had a lot of controversy, because morality and religion are two completely different things, and a lot of people don't understand that. And this movie clearly paints that really well, and I like that message and the way that it tells that story going forward.
It's a great proponent for the sake of nuance in any kind of religious discussion, and I think that's just something I wish. I mean, again, most of us come from Catholic backgrounds, and I just wish that our parents, their generation, would be more open to such nuance and discussions, because it always just comes like, oh, it's this way, and you can't have a discussion about that, or like this here or that there, and like a lot of, to me, it's like this is the kind of discussion I've always wanted to be exposed to about not just religion, but Catholicism, just a frank and open debate about the pros and the cons. And I finally got that in this movie.
Yeah. And it's, yeah. And there's a one line. It was like, we might as well let children suffer than destroy the faith of of millions, and just like those lines and the delivery.
Doesn't that remind you of Waternoose and Monsters Inc. saying I'd kidnap 1,000
children before I let this company die? Yeah, it is very much like that. But it
Why are you laughing, Peter?
Because that's kind of like a meme at this point. The whole
Yeah.
I'll kidnap 1,000 children. Yeah, it's funny.
It's
and then also children being involved is a different dichotomy there too.
Yeah.
It's a good counterbalance between like the arguments and all that stuff, and and that's where you come into like stuff like Moreno's movie Spotlight, and it's just like the way that it's just it shows that kind of light to a religion, while also like it shows like the good, the bad, and the ugly in the discussions that is made, and you feel the convictions of like these arguments. And I think that is where the two popes really shines. It is a think piece of what religion can be and can do, but also you can divide what is good and what is religious, and I think that, and plus on top of that, the way it's shot, just the overlooking shots, the fact that they recreated the Sistine Chapel blows my mind still. And honestly, I can't praise this movie by its laurels enough. It is a cinematic classic, and will go down as such, along with like the vein of like Ben-Hur and all that stuff. To me, it is one of those movies.
Official list?
Kyle, what's your official?
Well, with my choice, we must look a little closer.
All right, Moreno, what's your choice?
Oh, God. Okay, Moreno, your choice.
Endgame.
Avengers Endgame. So we got
Is that-
2 Endgame and 1 for Knives Out.
Oh, God.
Peter.
Parasite.
That's a good movie too.
I genuinely do not know what I can say about Parasite that I have not already said 1,000 times.
Keep in mind, we
about
just had a
Parasite.
whole show talking about these movies, so it's like there's
so
not
it's
much
a
more
little-
to say.
It's a little difficult to bring up anything else. I'll make mine quick. It's fantastic. Bong Joon-ho. It's a very clear metaphor for sort of the pitfalls of capitalism, and it's so detailed in its script and filmmaking. Performances are obviously great. They all got awards for it. It's just such a great film. I can't think of anything else to say. If you want more for what I have to say about Parasite, we have several videos on this podcast place in which we get into great depth. But yeah, I mean, it's obvious. Parasite, awesome.
Couldn't agree more with Parasite. And then basically the same answer in terms of Endgame for me and how I felt about it. The modern day Return of the Jedi, and give me the most of what I want for in a cinematic experience. Moreno?
I agree.
Okay. Kyle, so talk to us about the donut hole.
Okay, so all joking aside, Knives Out, gorgeous, like masterpiece. I can't praise this film enough. It did everything I wanted the movie to do, and then some. It has some clear, obvious things I should have pointed out how the outcome of the movie should have went. And like it was staring us in the face, and it should have been obvious, but yet because Rian Johnson and the journey that he takes us through this movie, it's downright entertaining to its purest form. You don't know where the story is going to go. It subverts your expectations as Rian Johnson does, but he does it in such a tasteful way and delightful way that I'm just smiling grin to grin just seeing this whole thing play out. It's a whodunit, but it's so much more than that. I'm tired of everybody saying, oh, it's a whodunit. No, it's so much more than just a basic whodunit. It is so much more.
It's a Rian Johnson whodunit.
Even then, you know, it's very streamlining the movie, and it's not a streamlined movie. It's something more complex than that. It has like interwoven storytellings and also a good message of just don't be shit. You know, it's Rian Johnson does the Royal Tenenbaums. You know, it's just like that. It's just that kind of film. It has a wonderful cast of characters. And again, yes, Alexis, Peter, and Moreno would say, you know, yes, the movie did sell me on Daniel Craig. Let's be honest. But again, much like the quote of the donut hole, it's much more bigger than that and more grandiose than that. You know.
We've heard about the fucking donut hole for months.
I remember we were at a time when we could go to restaurants. Recently, we went to go, and Peter wanted to kill Kyle because he brought up that damn. He gave him just this glare of death because Kyle brought up the donut hole for like the 10,000th time.
But you see that the donut hole has a hole in its center.
And that was the decade, folks.
That was a whole 10 years. Can you believe it? I mean, a lot of great films. Obviously, a lot of them we weren't even mentioned, but those were our favorites for the 2010s, which is in the books.
Yeah. Now on to Oblivion.
See you guys there.
Where it's going to be, well, in the next decade show we do in 10 years, if we're still around, it's going to be very hard to find films for this year. I'll say that. For 2020 anyway.
It's going to be the forgotten year.
Are they even going to have an Oscars? I mean,
you don't know.
What do they nominate?
Best Picture.
Sonic the Hedgehog and Birds of Prey.
Bloodshot.
Onward actually has a chance of winning now.
The Invisible Man.
Yeah, Best Picture nominee
between Elizabeth Moss and
Harley
Margot
Quinn.
Robbie.
Margot Robbie, that's right.
That's the Best Actress category right there.
Let me just quickly recap. So Peter Martinez, the films he chose were Mad Max Fury Road, The Handmaiden, A Ghost Story, Roma, and Parasite from years 2015 to 2019. Alexys Moreno had Spotlight and Inside Out, La La Land and Civil War and Kubo and the Two Strings, Last Jedi and Coco, Hereditary and Spider-Verse, and Endgame and Jojo Rabbit. Kyle Lira had The Martian and The Witch, Room, Mad Max Fury Road, Rogue One and Moana, Last Jedi and Guardians 2, Spider-Verse, Won't You Be My Neighbor, and Hereditary, and Knives Out and The Two Popes, and I had Bridge of Spies and The Force Awakens, La La Land and Captain America Civil War, Star Wars The Last Jedi and Spielberg, Fahrenheit 11/9 and It Won't You Be My Neighbor, Avengers Endgame, and Knives Out. And that was an entire decade in movies. We thank you so much for joining us in our very, 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 very long podcasts, and especially these list shows, and especially in these trying times. Again, brought to you by coronavirus. Any other comments by the panelists for today and the show we just did?
Peter?
I think we can all agree that I had the best list. I don't think it was even close.
And I think we can all agree it's time to wrap up this show. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for listening. Remember, you can catch our podcasts every single Sunday for Red Spotlight, sometimes on Thursdays, and every single Monday and Friday. You got a brand new episode coming your way with the Fantasy Fair. You got a treasure trove of content that is coming your way when it comes to Disney songs and audio commentaries and so much more. And by the way, thank you all for doing this. It's, talking to you guys here, for taking time out of your busy schedules and this, self-isolation to be a part of this show. We're at a time where we get to do so much more content than ever before, and all it took was a pandemic to do that. So here we are. Thank you all for listening, and stay in your damn homes. See you next time. Bye-bye.